Hey everyone, it's Kelly from Women for One, and today we're speaking with Alyssa Curry. She is the daughter of Marla Scott, who I spoke with previously last week, and is a co-author of Marla and her new book, Intuition. She embarked on this project in an effort to help her mom recover from a craniotomy due to multiple brain aneurysms. And she's really a young woman illuminated by her passion for life. And I not only want to say that, but I'm really excited to be speaking with Alyssa today because as all moms do, or many moms do, they love their children and they build them up. But in researching Alyssa and seeing all the accomplishments she has done in her 22 years, I think all of us will feel that way after this conversation. So she's a recent college graduate in the field of psychology, and she's a copy editor and graphic designer that spends her free time engulfed in music, which I love. So welcome, Alyssa. I'm excited to speak with you today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to talk to a young, powerful woman of the kind of newer generation. And I first want to start off with talking about how the evolution of this book, Intuition, came around with your mom co-writing it, because that can be an effort to do anything with a parent, as I've learned. How did that come about, and can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, actually, my mother had brain surgery a few years ago, and it's a part of her therapy to really get back to writing, because she absolutely loves writing. So that's something that I wanted to kind of get into the groove with her in order to help her get her passion back for writing. So we decided to write Intuition, and a huge part of it you can see all throughout the beginning before the storyline really picks up and takes a twist. But that is based on our real conversations that we have, and things during my younger years. She taught me how to follow my intuition and how to trust that. And so we're putting real conversations between the two of us into there. So it was really a project in order to start from, for her therapy, but to start from something that we already know. So it's not necessarily creating something totally new.
Right. That's great. And how did your mom teach you to follow, what were some ways she taught you to follow your intuition?
Well, growing up, whenever I was younger, she always brought, my brother would bring people home who needed some kind of guidance or help, and I would always watch her use her intuition to help them, say, you really need to trust this, and she would teach them. So it's a part of me watching her, growing up. I think parents don't always realize how much their children, pay attention to them and how much they really listen to what they're doing. And so that was just me watching her growing up.
Right.
She taught me, to trust it, because I'm watching her trust her intuition.
Yeah. So by example, and it's interesting you talk about that, because, I do that with my children, and I really believe it's a muscle. The more you flex it, the easier and the easier it is to follow it. Do you agree?
Oh, definitely. Yes. And I'm watching my brother, and then growing up, I actually had experience with her, using her intuition to guide me. There was one incident where I was going out to walk my dog, and I turned around and I said, bye. And I didn't notice that I said anything, different, but she stopped, and I saw her face, and she said, don't go out. And, at first I was like, well, why? She's like, just not tonight. Don't go out. We'll walk the dog tomorrow. And by the look on her face, I could tell, her demeanor, her whole, body language changed. And I said, okay, I'll see you. And it was,
right.
Yeah, it was totally different, experience with her. But, we live in a very good neighborhood. But later on that night, we saw that there was an attempt, on a child being adopted.
Wow.
And seeing that, I was like, wow. And she explained it to me later. She didn't want to freak me out, but that's how she started using her intuition to guide me. Right. I learned to trust her, is to say, if she ever told me something, and she was like, hey, don't go out with your friends tonight, and I would always look at her and say, are you getting a feeling? And she's like, yes, it's my intuition. And I wouldn't question it after that. I would say, okay, no problem. I'll call her and let her know.
Right.
So it's learning to trust her first, and then, eventually she was teaching me how to slow down in my life and trust my own, something that I can rely on.
I love that you say slow down, because I think we can't really hear our intuition if we don't slow down. Slowing down and discernment, where it's fear compared to intuition, has always been my challenge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of the issue today is that we're so busy in our lives. We're moving from point A to B. Our schedules, it's like, oh, I have to go to work, I have to go here. We're not slowing down enough to tune out that outside noise and listen to what our body is telling us, what our intuition is telling us.
Right.
Intuition can be used in so many ways, not just, for me, it may be, during school or work, but a lot of times it can be used in business.
Right.
For trust people, for, if you're marrying somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I completely agree. And I told your mom a story about my friend who just kept going back to the doctor over and over again because they kept telling her there was nothing wrong, and she just knew there was, and she had liver cancer. So similar to the experience of what happened with your mom as well, from what she said.
Yes. Yeah, because she kept going back to the doctor, and she would point, to certain spot in her head, and I remember her going there and saying, there's something wrong, and it's right here. And they would do the scans, they would do the tests, and they wouldn't see anything. And she just wouldn't give up on that. She would go to a different doctor and get another opinion, but she would go back to the same spot and said, I feel something right here. It's not good. So finally a doctor actually did catch it, and it was brain aneurysms, multiple ones.
Right. Yeah. Wow. That's pretty amazing. So, well, and so what do you feel like is your relationship with your mom, moving into the book, like and writing the book and getting kind of all of her mental faculties and her passion back? How did that work? Like, can you walk us through like the kind of evolution of creating the book together?
First it's sitting down and really thinking about, okay, what should we write about? The first thing, in order to really get someone back in their passion and things like that, is to write about something that they know. And that was something for us that we both have, our whole family has a lot of experience with, me and my mom and my brother, mm-hmm. to understand intuition. That's something that we all have had conversations with and understanding it. So
right.
Sitting down and really coming up with something like that was a tremendous start to saying, okay, we all know this topic. We've had conversations. Let's kind of pull up, some of the experiences that we've had and really try to teach people how to follow their intuition. Because your surgery came out of you following your intuition, to know that there was something wrong. What if there's a lot of people out there who don't know that that's their intuition telling them that something is wrong, and they don't listen? So let's write about something that we know that everyone should know, to trust and learn how to trust their intuition. Absolutely.
That's wonderful. That's really exciting. And so you just put this out a couple of months ago, right?
Yes, it was in March 31st.
Okay. And how is it being received so far?
Oh, we really love the reviews that we're getting. It really is amazing to see the amount of people that come to her with questions. That's something that she does that I like to also be a part of, is watching her respond to people. People email her every day, whether it's on Facebook or Twitter, and they ask her, what an amazing story, can you teach me how to follow my intuition, or, how do you follow yours? Where do you start? And she's very helpful with getting in that process. And it's amazing to see people, that many people writing, even with my friends and things like that. So
that's fabulous. That's so wonderful. So with this, you and I have spoken about talking about your generation of women, and I mean, you're already an award-winning co-author of this book at the age of 22. You've graduated from college, and now you have this new publishing company, and you're a copy editor and graphic designer. Do you find that the women of your age, as I told you on my team, I've got 2 women very similar to your age running Women for One under right next to me, beside me. Do you find women of your age are more empowered? I kind of just want to talk about what your vision of the future for women your age are.
I think there's a lot of skills that women have that they really need to own in on. For me, the graphic design, that's something that I didn't necessarily learn in school. That's something that I taught myself. I sat down and I really developed that skill. So every time I'm making a website for somebody, I learn something new, pick up books and discover new ways to do things. There's a lot of women out there who have those skills that they can really make a path of their own. We don't necessarily have to follow behind somebody, but we can really develop that. And I think, with you talking about the women that you're working with, it's amazing, what you can do. Mm-hmm. You put that together and you create an idea and then you build that up. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily, they don't necessarily have to go to a company. If you feel you're having issues, moving up, branch out and start your own company or learn the skills in order to keep moving forward.
And you make a really good point, because I think kind of to make an analogy with computers and technology in the way our brains work my brains work at 45 compared to maybe a 65-year-old, compared to someone your age, which has just been part of your life since you were born, technology. In the same way, I think our generation generally was raised to, mainstream was raised to, you find a job, you go into a company, and you work your way up. Where it feels like, I have six teenagers right now. Well, one just turned 20, but I have 6. So these kids and these young adults are like, we don't have to go into a company. And I think some of that is teaching them that entrepreneurial way and that larger vision that I've incorporated into my skill set. But I think also, you think it's maybe a generational thing as well. Like, you don't just have to do one thing these days. You could put a YouTube up, get a million hits, right? It's just, we're so much more interconnected. Do you agree?
Yes, I do. With the internet and the things that we have out there, there's so many things that people have created, sites or new products and things like that doesn't come from, necessarily a company. There's a lot of bright ideas out there, and I think that's amazing seeing, what people can do. But that's something that my mom always passed down to me. She said, you can create whatever path that you want. Whatever it is, mm-hmm. I will support you. And she taught me in the beginning the web design and things like that was more of just my entertainment. I was interested in it, right. Really like doing it. But she taught me that there's a lot of people looking for that service. You can make something out of it.
It's a marketable skill. Yeah, it's big time.
Exactly. And then the same thing with the book covers. That's something that I never thought that I could do, but I took graphic design in high school, and I really loved it. And ever since then, I kind of kept teaching myself new things. And now it's turned into a business.
Well, it feels like you've adopted your mom's no limiting beliefs. Like, you can create what you want. I mean, she created her own reality and overcame so much in her life. And, you kind of learned from that, imbibed it, and then even expanded more already. I think it's amazing. It's such a triumphant story, not to be cliche, but it really is.
I'm so proud to be able to follow her footsteps. I really am, because I've learned so much from her, so much. And to continue, to grow, to write with her, writing a book is not something that I ever thought that, would happen between she and I. Mm-hmm. Because I'm going to school for psychology, and then intuition actually really does, bind together with psychology as well, which mm-hmm. you wouldn't expect that it could, because it's science, but it does. And I just love my passion for helping people is what led me to psychology. And writing, I see her writing books and her ghostwriting and memoir writing, that actually leads to helping people as well. And mm-hmm. they're both doing big things. And so I would really love to follow both paths. I feel that I don't have to pick one. So right. I love where I'm right now.
Yeah, it's not linear, right? You don't have to pick one. You can do all of it and incorporate it and support people through your writing and your graphic design and your music. So what is your future vision for yourself? Like first of all, what's the next steps? And do you have some goals and dreams? I'm sure you do, even more than being an author.
Yes, I do want to go into developmental psychology, and in the future own my own practice. But likewise, I would like to continue writing. This has been such an amazing process with her, and being able to sit down and watch the way that she does things. And I want to follow her footsteps as well, because I've seen how much she's done for people and how much she's changed, people's lives. It's amazing.
Right.
So
wow,
that's something that I do want to follow more with her and begin writing again.
Wonderful. And so you want to have your own practice, you want to keep writing, and just move forward. So you're going to get your master's for psychology, obviously. That's fabulous. Well, I am just so honored to have spoken with you today. And I'm excited that you're becoming a Women for One truth teller. Anybody I interview or that submits a story, we'd love to have a piece of your writing anytime you want to send it in. We encourage everybody to become a truth teller and share their truth and their process on our site. And we're just so honored to have you and your mom featured on our homepage and to feature your new book, Intuition. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for having me. I hope this really does encourage people to get out and write and see, the difference that it can make for people as well.
I love that you said that at the end, because it really does make a difference, doesn't it? To write, to speak, to act from that place of truth.
Imagine how many lessons that you're sharing with people. Why let somebody go through, things that you've had difficulty with? Share that with others. Share how to grow and how to develop, and I think that's important. Share
your story, right, and overcome it, and share the wisdom you've gained from it. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much, Alyssa. Thanks, everyone.